went out for no reason, sitting at the border going to the US. It took like an hour to cross the border, and my hip went out. Now my hip's been messed up for, I guess, 3 days. I got to go to a hip therapist.
What what does it mean the hip went out?
Well, my pelvis is out of alignment, so it's like my
So it
lower.
popped out?
Well, it hasn't popped out. I think it's just like sitting in the wrong. It's not quite sitting in the right pocket socket.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, there's worse. Way
Does that
worse.
make you feel better when you say it could be worse? It helps me.
I always say it could be worse,
Yeah.
and that does make me feel better.
Yeah.
And
Because
I'm
what's also true is it could be way better.
100%.
But it doesn't help to go, you know, my life could be better. I could be who's somebody that you admire / resent for their success? Who would you like to trade places with?
Ryan Gosling.
There you go. Will Arnett.
You know,
there's a tall Canadian that's doing way better than me.
Jerry Seinfeld, Nate Bargatze, Robin Williams, if he was still alive.
No, you can't just trade places with a guy who is clinically depressed and then took his own life. That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
unless
was that
unless you want that.
I thought he did it because he was diagnosed with something, and he was like, I think I'll go out.
Oh, I think he was just depressed. Not just. I think he was depressed his whole life, wasn't he? He talked about that all the time.
And what we're talking about right now, or what we're doing, is an example of how journalism works. When most of the time people don't know anything and they just make up fake stories.
That's not. Oh, you're making a comment on.
You better believe it. You know whose life could be worse is any F1 driver's life could be worse, because they are at the pinnacle of motorsport.
Yeah.
They have nothing to whine about. Zero.
And they're not big whiners for being Europeans, not compared to soccer players.
Well, the soccer players, there's definitely a concern with the flailing and the wailing.
Yeah. You don't hear a lot of complaining out of Ferrari. You hear most of the complaining from MBS. That's the biggest complainer in F1.
MBS
is the head of the FIA.
Oh, yeah. Have you been watching Netflix Drive to Survive?
Yeah, I watched a few episodes this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I thought maybe that's what we might spend a little time talking about that. But one of my favorite moments was Toto Wolff saying to Ben Sullivan that he can't talk right now because he was watching Kimi Antonelli.
Oh yeah, yeah.
God, Kimi Antonelli, he seems really charming.
Yeah, I mean, he seems fast too. How many episodes have you watched? Don't ruin it for me.
I've just got up to the point where they started interviewing Kimi.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. He seems really young. He is really young.
Absolutely. He's like 18, but he seems like
he's a sweetheart.
I think he's going to be as good as Toto Wolff thinks he is, because his charm and his kind of like he seemed kind of grounded. Because I read then after I saw the video, I read a few articles about him. He seems kind of like.
You think so? Is he an Oscar? Is he a bit Oscar-like?
I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to crash a lot this season, but I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah. Is that because they like his race team must know of his exuberance? Is that why you say he's going to crash a lot?
Well, I think that he's the type of driver. I mean, again, what do I know? Look at this face. Take a good look. And if you're listening, just listen to my face.
No one's listening.
Okay. I love it. I love that this is for me and you.
I mean, I like it.
There'll be people. More. Don't worry. It'll happen.
Okay.
It'll happen. I'm learning about AI, which is going to help. So
great.
And you should too. Like if you're thinking about changing your life and becoming a psychotherapist, learn how AI can do the psychotherapy for you.
You know what? You instead of asking, "Hey, have you been exploring AI and psychotherapy. You just tell me what I haven't been doing. I use it all the time because I know that if I don't, I'll just get left behind. You know, I'm already so anti social media and anti cell phone. There are some things that
It's
I have
scary.
to learn. I
Yeah,
can't just be a Luddite and a cranky old man. The field's too crowded.
it's scary. I mean, the feeling I generally get now is, oh, if I don't figure AI out, if I don't get on the horse right now and start playing around with it and really seeing how I might be able to use it in my line of field, yeah, it's over. I keep saying to everybody that this whatever YouTube TikTok person was saying, I think in 2 years or 3 years there'll be a solopreneur, which is a billionaire. There'll be a billionaire solopreneur because of AI. That's
Right.
amazing. Which is
Okay. Let's go back to Kimmy. Why do you think he's going to crash all the time?
he pushes the limits. So he's going to push the limits to like he's going to just keep going until he can see how far he can go, and that's why he'll crash a lot. So that's a good trait for a driver in terms of like not being afraid to just, okay, I'm going to see what I can do in these conditions in this car with these tires on this type of track. And I think and I think this is why Toto Wolff would be good, because Toto Wolff will have some patience and let him do it. Let him crash, because that's what Max Verstappen did when he came on.
Do they tune a car towards a driving style?
They can design a car certainly towards driving styles, and
So
then
would
they
Kimmy get that? Would Kimmy get that? Like, we don't want him to crash a lot. We're gonna I don't know.
Yeah, they will. They'll tweak the car they'll get the car to a certain basis. It's probably going to be suited towards George. He's also been driving the car for.
So they suit both cars towards the number one driver?
No. They'll have a basis of the car.
Because they have two cars. They have one car each, right?
Yeah, but they'll build the car to a certain basis, and then maybe they'll have this
I
sort of
see.
pathway to speed, and this way pathway to speed. So then some drivers, like, this is why everyone says, the Albon interview about Max Verstappen's driving style is so fascinating, because what Albon was saying was, yes, Max obviously an incredible driver, but his style is not very similar to a lot of other drivers. So he likens it to, when you have a mouse and the mouse moves around on your screen and there's a sensitivity to the speed at which that mouse cursor will move across the screen.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can tweak that if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Max's speed at which the car reacts is you move it this way, it does this. Whereas other drivers want a bit more leeway before it
Oh.
goes crazy. And
Does he have faster reaction time or reflexes or whatever you call it?
Maybe he just wants the input. He wants the information faster. Whereas maybe perhaps like someone, I think it was Jenson Button, he was known as, and Alain Prost, they were known as really smooth drivers. So they weren't aggressive with the car.
I see.
They were like, they would input, they would milk the car for speed.
Yeah.
They would, whereas I think Max Verstappen is, I'm going to throw the car into the corner, I'm going to get it, and then I'm going to pull out. And so then if it gets wobbly or whatever, he'll just use his natural instinct to keep it on the track. I don't know what I'm talking about.
He's a liar. I mean, that's what I come away with watching Drive to Survive. I'm sure they're just framing it, but he's a fucking liar in front of the mics after he runs Lando off. And which race was that? I can't remember.
Well, there was Austria.
Austria, where he's just like, no, I don't think I was too aggressive. You weren't. You are the picture of aggression, Max.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And everyone's just like, that's where it falls down for me, racing journalism. And we've talked about this before, is where everyone just goes along with it because they're afraid their credentials are going to be taken from them. So
well, that's what happened to lots of journalists. Why am I?
That's what happened to Damon.
Well, kind of what happened to Damon, but I'm blanking on his name right now. I can't remember. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name.
Who is it? Does he have a podcast now?
He has a podcast, and he's always interviewed um, by other podcasters. Why am I blanking on his
You
name?
know who I love is James Allen. Do you
Yep.
listen to his?
I haven't listened to James Allen. No, I
God,
should.
he's so smart.
Mhm.
And I wonder if did that happen to him?
No, I think he used to be with BBC or ITV or something.
Yeah, and then
And then
was
no,
he truth talking too
no,
much?
Sky TV came in, bought the rights, and that's just basically what happened.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I
Um,
really dig the episode on um I can't remember.
that's okay. Well, I can't
He's
remember her
got
name.
great guests and it's actual interviews and they know what they're talking about, but it's not boring. There's so many podcasts where they try and joke
Yeah.
and it's terrible. And that's where I think we can come in.
Well, I hope we can. I really do. Have you watched High Performance?
No, what's that?
That's another good one too. Where
Watched it? Oh, it's a
pod
podcast.
like this.
You
Um,
watch them. I listen. I think I do listen to High Performance. Oh, it's those two guys.
yeah,
Yeah, I have listened to them. Why don't I have them on my feed?
I like them because they seem to ask they ask really intelligent questions that I'm interested in. Like they interviewed they interviewed Adrian Newey, and they asked her kind of like a really pointed question, like, well, like, why does Max have this reputation? And then Adrian Newey has this really great answer, being, well, he's probably just misunderstood, and it was great. And then they
That's
interviewed
more
Total.
bullshit, though, isn't it? That's more diplomacy. I mean,
Yeah, but
he's probably Adrian Newey's such a sweet, soft-spoken guy. I wonder if he left Red Bull and was like, "Whew, I need a break from that." I know he's going to another powerful, larger
well,
than life personality in Lawrence Stroll, but at least it's not Hornergate, Helmut, Jos, Max. I mean, that's 4 elements where the
yeah.
quiet nerd of Adrian Newey is probably having flashbacks of boarding school.
Well, I think Adrian Newey's more ruthless than you think.
Oh, you think he's? Oh, yeah. I like
think-
that, Milky. He's kind of in the Oscar camp.
Oh, yeah,
Silent killers.
he's like, I mean, he's the fourth highest paid person in Formula One.
Now?
Well, yeah, like he's behind only like Lewis and Max Verstappen in terms of salary per season.
And that's new since he moved to his
Uh,
new job on for a week. He's been there for a week.
Well, he's always been paid more than some drivers, always,
Really?
because he's invaluable. But what I mean by that, he's got ruthlessness, was that in 1994, was it 95? He was at Williams, and he left Williams because they fired Damon. They let Damon Hill go without sort of having a discussion about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, "I'm out."
That was Frank. Was that Frank?
Frank Williams, yeah.
Frank was still in charge.
Yeah.
And he just acted unilaterally without talking to you.
Well, I mean, it's
Adrian.
Frank's team, so Frank could do what he wanted, but Adrian was
But it
like,
is weird to not talk to your number one.
the person who makes your car fast.
Yeah.
Because Adrian Newey, I think part of the reason why Adrian Newey has success is he is good at communicating with drivers, certain drivers. And so I guess Damon Hill during his time was actually very astute at expressing what the car was doing, which was invaluable to Adrian Newey. And he's like, you just got rid of the guy who won a world championship and knows how to talk to me about how to design a car. So, you know what?
Have you read Damon Hill's autobiography?
I did many years ago, yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, I'm not a big reader.
Just okay. You're not a big reader.
No.
Because your life's in chaos.
My life is in task chaos. When I get off this phone, when I'm off this, I got to go right into like 40 emails.
Oh man, that sucks. How many unanswered emails do you have in your inbox?
That I haven't answered?
Yeah.
Oh, not that many. It's mostly people not getting back to me.
Oh, really?
Well, because I'm just soliciting. I'm just begging.
Right. I see. Yeah. So if you were to change one thing, would that be it? Would it be the task overload?
Yeah, if I had more money, we'd hire people to do the right jobs.
Yeah.
I don't mind selling.
After I finished this morning's work at school,
How's that going?
oh, it's really good. Yeah.
Can
I
you
went I went and sat in the sun for an hour.
Oh, how'd that feel?
Well, it's jean jacket weather here. I mean, I know it's a mock spring. I know it won't last. It's Toronto. Winter goes until June
Yeah,
sometimes.
sometimes.
But holy shit, it's nice out. It's like 5 degrees, sunny, not a cloud in the sky. It was
I love
just
it.
glorious. And the smell, Toronto, when everything starts to thaw, all the frozen dog shit starts thawing out. I
That
mean,
weird sour I know the smell.
it's just disgusting. This place is so ugly sometimes, but it's
That's why I can't live
glorious
in
when.
Toronto.
Is that why?
Yeah,
That's not why.
it is. No, no, when
That
I will tell
you
you
like nature.
I'll tell you what transpired in my life. Because I grew up in a small Northern Ontario town, so when it snowed, the snow stayed white.
Yeah.
Okay, stayed white. I mean, yes, some of the roads it would get brown but most of the time it was white. And then when I would go to Toronto in the summer, I would always get headaches because it was so humid and thick with whatever exhaust was in the air. And then when I'd go back, when I moved and did Second City, I totally forgot what winters were like in Toronto. And that's that gray, dirty brown, like, so it's like, I don't know. I don't even know if you can call it a winter.
So you want to keep Ontario white.
Keep it super white.
I understand what you mean. I this year, because winter is so long. I God, I hope the microphone isn't picking up my hoodie rubbing against my headphones. It wouldn't do that, would it?
I don't think so.
Fuck, I'm so worried about this setup and me not being an expert. Um, yeah, it's snowfall that I like. It's not snow.
Yeah.
Snow
Watching it,
falling,
it's magical.
glorious.
Yeah.
Snow months
Accumulating.
later, frozen, brown, smells of shit. No. But at least it was warm. I sat out there and then I walked home with my purchases from the No Frillies
Yeah.
and I was listening to a podcast. And really, I mean, that's all I need.
Hey, how's your skin tag situation?
Skin tag?
Yeah.
I don't have a skin tag situation, do I?
No, I do. So I'm just curious where you're
Oh,
at.
I see. No, I don't have any of those.
Yeah, I'm getting more of them.
Oh, really? Are you
Yeah.
moly?
No.
Are you molier than thou?
No, it's weird. I got I've got one right here that everyone makes fun of when we do our shows because it's you know, but I'm
You
getting
can
some
get
other.
those removed.
I know, I know. I guess that's another task.
No, you get to go to a dermatologist, and that is fun. You got to do that. You'll love it.
Why?
Well, have you ever been to one?
No.
You'll be introduced to a whole new level of Canadian healthcare. These are the top gunners. No one makes more money than a derm. All
Really?
right, maybe some surgeons, but for people that don't have to go into a hospital all the time, for people to just have a nice office on the west side of town, nobody makes more.
So what? Like I go
And
in.
they look glorious. So you'll see a modern day dermatologist is a glorious because
They're
they
perfect.
do it all. Yeah. So they look good. So you come in and it's not like normally you go to your doctor's office and you're like, wow, does anyone even clean in here? You know, like there's just they're just shit because doctors don't get paid any money.
Right.
My doctor gets paid $37 for every 15-minute visit after going to school for 7 years. I mean, I can make more. I made more money being an actor. When you were an internet sensation, you made way more than a doctor.
Yeah, our system's not correct. We
It's
haven't got
not
money
correct.
flowing the right way. I mean, let's
But a
just tax
derm,
the goddamn rich. Just tax them.
but a dermatologist, I think you'll enjoy it. And then they zap stuff off of you,
Right.
and they'll make like a mole map of your back, and so they can check, which are turning into melanoma or precancer.
Hmm.
It's fascinating, Milky.
Okay, well, I guess I gotta do that. After this, I gotta somehow get a last-minute hip adjustment, get some red light therapy, maybe a massage. Maybe I'm just gonna drive and get a cheap massage somewhere. I can't believe how much some therapeutic massages can cost now. And
Yeah.
and I also can't believe, you know,
Everything's such a ripoff.
how everybody, but also, like, how hard it is to get an appointment sometimes with a good massage therapist.
Oh,
'Cause, like,
really?
well, Christina she's got this wonderful one, but she's, like, never, like, when Christina has a problem, she has to get something adjusted. It's hard to get in. She's like, this woman's, I guess, a genius. Like, she's like,
Oh.
so everyone's like, I'm going to her. I think she's Russian.
Why not go get a rub and tug, see if that works?
I don't think that's the same. I mean, there's value to that for sure, but I don't know if, like, I mean,
Christina,
is there any
Christina,
actual
I just couldn't
capability?
get into your RMT, so
Went down the street.
I went to the spa.
I don't know. I mean, I also happen to think, because I've gone to some registered massage therapists, and I was going to be a massage therapist. Like, I thought about considering
Is
doing
that
it.
right?
I bet a lot of them are bad, because I haven't really found a massage therapist where I'm like, oh, like you're really good, like that. I'm gonna follow you wherever you go, like a hairstylist.
My massage therapist, I was with her for, I don't know, 6 years,
Yeah,
and, she just moved to America, so she's no longer. I need to find
moved to
another one.
America.
Yeah, they bought a farm in Virginia or something.
What?
I don't know.
Who's moving down there?
I know, she was like, great timing.
Oh,
But anyways, she was great. She was a Guinness Book of World Record holder in doubles, in, what do you call it? Jump rope, skipping rope doubles. Skipping rope doubles. She was like she was a fitness expert. She was ripped. She was so strong. And she would mount me. She would get up on the table and
right,
mount and like push and use her whole body weight and push me open.
like a pancake.
It was invasive. Yeah.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I
And
had
she
one.
was so good.
Have you ever had like a really good? I had a Thai masseuse.
Shout out to Samantha.
So,
Miss you. Hopefully,
um,
maybe it won't work out in Virginia and she'll come back.
I feel like there might be a lot of things not working out
Yeah. Yeah.
down there. It seems like there could be some chaos. I mean, I know you're not on social media, JB, so probably didn't hear about the Boston talk or whatever.
No.
Yeah, it's you know what? All you can do is
Do I want to hear?
I mean, I'll just say, you know, that the border czar from that Trump appointed.
Okay.
Uh, I guess the mayor of Boston was like, we're not going to use our, I think, because I can't spend enough time on it, otherwise I'll just get depressed. Um, I think we're not going to use our city cops to help what is it, the whole immigration thing that they want to deport people.
Yeah.
We're not going to help. And he said, what do you mean you're not going to help? This blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I'm going to bring all hell to Boston. And you're going to help. And she said, no, we're not going to help. This powerful, wonderful mayor. She's incredible. And then I'm bringing all hell to Boston. This guy says, it's just like, okay. So then everyone on the social media was like, oh, you're going to come to Boston, are you? And it was like all these, come on down to Boston, bring all your people, like very like, bring it on. Like, okay, protest, all this sort of stuff. Very Boston.
Yeah.
And then the irony of it all, and I don't know if irony is the right word, but Boston was where they had is that where the revolution started?
Yeah. I mean,
So,
it was all in that area for sure. Yeah.
so
So yeah, you're calling on the original rebels.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it was really kind of fun because like I went, scrolling through it, and all these people are like, okay, come. And then everyone's like, okay,
Mhm.
let's all get together. We'll have a nice massive protest and get this guy out of the city.
And everybody
So,
has guns down there. So when they say come,
yeah.
it's loaded up with a different.
Yeah.
In Canada, it's different.
No. In Canada,
they're
like, oh yeah, come to our city and we'll stand
Yeah,
there. We'll stand there.
we'll line up to
Yeah.
talk to
Oh
you
yeah.
one at a time. Give
Yeah.
you a piece of my mind, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, so Milky, I had some thoughts and I wanted to talk to you about them on a slight pivot to our podcast because I was thinking about it.
Okay.
And I wanted to run it by you and see what you thought, because I think we might be looking a gift horse in the mouth.
Okay.
And that is, you're the expert here, and that's always been, and you're a longtime fan at the very least. You can't
I'm a huge fan.
downplay that, right? I
Can't.
mean, I remember, as I've said before, I remember when we first started hanging out decades ago. I came over to your apartment on, was it 10th? Near the
No,
hospital?
13th.
It was 13th near VGH. Remember
That's right.
all
Yeah.
that? Remember towels across the hallway?
Oh yeah, he was
I did not like him.
intense.
He was weird. And remember, we'd always have to listen to Hawks, the helicopter landing at the
Yeah.
hospital.
Yeah.
Anyway, you had on your dresser in your bedroom where you lay with your woman, you had all your little F1 cars.
I'm
Your
not allowed that
die-cast.
anymore. I'm not allowed anymore.
But when I saw that, I was like, wow, you have sex with a woman and you have a collection of tiny cars.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Why aren't you allowed them anymore?
They're tucked away over there.
Well, you still have them,
Literally back there.
but you
There's
got to
just
hide
stuff in
them.
a cupboard. They're not even on display.
Anyway, so you're the longtime fan. And then I thought, well, what is my role about this? And I
Okay.
thought maybe
I like
that
it.
I could go into, I could be the psychology major getting his master's, and I could go into the sports psychology of stuff.
I like this right away.
That's good, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not an actual psychologist, but
No.
I mean, I am steeping myself in the stuff nonstop.
Yeah.
So, and I was listening to Damon Hill interviews the last week, and he was talking about depression and his dad dying, and then how dangerous F1 used to be, and that's why he quit. He was just like, if I'm not mistaken, once he won, he was like, no more. And that was the same with Rosberg, wasn't it?
Well, no, I mean that's not totally correct.
No, I got
mean,
that wrong.
Yeah.
So anyways, you're the expert. Let me just stay on task for a minute, finish this thought. You're
Yeah.
the expert. See, you know about the stuff. I don't know the stuff.
Mhm.
But what I can do is talk about the psychology and the behavior behind the decisions being made. Like, how come Oscar's so cool? How come Mohammed bin Sulmani thinks this is good for sport, this is good for the FIA, the way he acts?
Mhm.
How come
I see where you're going with
you know
this.
what I mean? Like there's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
sorts of stuff in there that might be interesting. What does Lando have to do to become a world champ?
Yeah. I like it. I mean, putting that in and that being maybe the main ingredient, fan psychology, and then the
Fan
extra spice,
psychology, yeah.
is totally doable. Like talking about the country still is a little bit fun, and also us just talking about our lives, I think is important.
Yeah,
But
I
and you
agree
can
too. So,
psychoanalyze me.
well, I will.
Okay.
So maybe I'll rewrite the blurb, the
Yeah.
description to reflect that, and I'll include what you just said about our longtime friendship. Maybe I'll mention that we used to be a comedy duo,
Yeah.
and because I like to I think highlighting the comedy part of it is important
And so
because
is the friendship.
everybody and the
Yeah.
friendship, yeah. Yeah.
Because I think when you shared with me, I was listening to those other guys that do that podcast, which you said they were just their friends talking about movies and stuff. Remember?
Yeah, yeah. How long gone?
Yeah, How Long Gone?
Yeah.
I like it. I get it, and I see. I mean, it's not necessarily something I would tune into as much.
No.
Partially because I don't think I care about movies anymore or
Well,
TV.
they don't just do movies. They're like culture, fashion,
Right.
music.
Right. So, and I don't really like any of those.
Yeah.
I mean,
I get it.
I don't care about fashion. Do you care about fashion?
I mean, I'd like to. I just can't afford it.
Yeah, and then there's and music. I love music, but I just feel like with Spotify and all that sort of stuff. I feel like, you know, it's
How Long Gone is interesting
just got
because it's so
depressed.
popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Let's put a pin in your feelings. How Long Gone, like, you listen to it and you're like, "Why the fuck do people love
Yeah.
this?" And then I read an article or 2 on them, one in the New York Times, where they said both the hosts were like, "I don't think people love our podcast. I think they put it on in the background.
Yeah.
It's not a podcast where you have to pay attention the whole time." And I
Yeah.
thought, "Oh, that's exactly how growing up, CBC
Radio.
was used. That's
Yeah.
exactly how radio is." So here's a podcast that goes on, and they post 4 times a week, which is,
That's
I know, but
how.
I think we should do more. Laws VS does that too. He posts 5 days a week from his attic. So I think
Oh, that Formula One nerd.
yeah, I think there's strength to prolificness, and and it's okay if we're not always exciting, because we, as you say, we show that friendship and that history, and it's not just about F1.
I think let's do it. There's nothing else to say. Let's just keep doing. Let's you know
Do you want to do
introduce.
more than once a week?
I don't know if I can do more than once a week right now, but maybe soon.
What
Um,
about once a week at the same time?
that would be ideal. This is the challenge we're going to be faced with the touring shows. I think, as you've already witnessed,
Oh,
the
right.
Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays kind of become useless days. So that means we're gonna have to record our podcasts likely on a Monday or a Tuesday, but
Okay.
probably Tuesday's better because sometimes we travel on a Monday if I do Sunday shows. You wouldn't believe what happened in Mount Vernon, by the way. It
Tell
was
me
unbelievable.
everything. Tell me everything.
We had
Mount
like
Vernon, it's a beautiful town.
it's super great. We did Canadian Steam down there,
Yeah.
which is our male review parody music comedy show.
Yeah.
And the premise is the government of Canada has assigned us a sexy lumberjacks to go down and show the world that we are Canadians aren't just polite. We're sexy. We're not, you know, because we're
Why
funny.
would the government want people to know that we're sexy?
It's just a premise, JB.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay, it's just a bit. And we went down there, and there was 354 people in this theater. They were so excited to be us. Canadian flags, Canadian stickers, people dressed
Oh,
in
of
red,
course.
all plaid.
Everybody loves Canada in America right now.
And it was like the joy and the, you know,
No
it was
way.
amazing. And then I was like, well, Canadian steam makes a lot of sense. Like right
Oh,
now,
milk
if there's
bags. You
ever a
guys are
time.
onto something. I knew it.
So we'll see how this unfolds. I mean, Spokane, unfortunately, is not biting, but Everett is doing pretty good.
Wait,
Um,
ticket sales wise.
yeah, I don't know
So
what's
you're
going
going back down to, when do you go to Spokane?
on. March 28th is Everett. March 29th is Spokane. I think Spokane, we're dead in the water. We're going to lose money.
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
but
And what's the difference there between Spokane and Mount Vernon? Spokane's a bigger city than Mount Vernon, isn't it?
that might be part of the problem.
Oh,
You know,
there's more
and
competition,
yeah,
maybe?
yeah, and I also think that maybe Spokane, you know, like, you know, sometimes like when you certain markets, I would just guess that, you know, because not I thought not lots of people go there, so maybe that's a good reason to go there. But I think the not lots of people going there is because it's maybe a town that has different ideas of entertainment. Maybe
Oh, are you talking about something like crystal meth?
I don't know about that, but it's a very artsy town, and it's also like artsy in a way of like, and also like outdoorsy, and you
Oh,
know,
I see. Isn't it a military town?
it could be. I don't
Well,
know.
that's something you should know, no?
Okay.
Get all those army gays? Like,
Oh
they
wow.
like dudes.
Well, I'll see. I don't imagine. I don't know why Spokane would be military. It's in the dead center of Washington State, like all of Everett and Whitby. There's naval bases and there's Air Force bases all down the west side
Yeah,
of
I wasn't
Washington.
suggesting they had a naval base in Spokane.
Well, I know that's not what you were saying, but why would they have like an army base in the middle of Spokane? Like,
Spokane Army. Let's see here. Fairchild Air Force Base
Okay, you're right. Maybe there's just an army
in
base in every city. Does every city in America have an
Spokane,
army base?
Washington. Why did they in Eastern Washington? Why does Washington say Washington?
Do
Have
they?
you noticed that? Yeah, Washington.
I'm gonna
They
pay
put an
attention.
R on it. Spokane. Oh, I miss Seattle so much. I love that city.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's
I don't
so
like the
good.
traffic. My God, I
Expensive
don't know
city
how
now
to get
though.
in. Oh, is it?
Oh, it's crazy how expensive Seattle is.
And has it gone tent city like Vancouver? I bet it's
There's
worse, isn't
oh
it?
yeah, yeah, that's it. It's there. Blame the
It
rich. It's
always
all the
had
rich.
sure.
You
It's
know it is.
all okay.
Don't sure
It's
me.
no. Why I assured you is that it makes no. I feel like when you say that, you feel like you're an activist, and it makes it's not going to
I
make a
am.
lick of difference.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep saying it.
Okay, terrific.
Tax rich.
You virtue signal to the choir.
Okay. I don't know what virtue signal means, but it sounds positive.
Hey, that reminds me. I still don't understand what mutually exclusive means. Do you know
In
what that
reference to
means?
what?
In reference to when people use it. Well, those two things aren't mutually exclusive, you'll hear someone say. And I can't get my head around what mutually exclusive means. But you don't know either. You haven't even heard of it.
Well, I probably have, but that I didn't understand it, so I decided to forget about it.
Okay, so did I hear about the whole weekend?
Yeah, that was it basically. It was a wonderful, warming feeling to have all these Washington people celebrate and be like, "Hey, we're all in this together, everybody!" Like, and yeah,
Yeah.
it was a blast. So I was very happy. So now I'm like, how do I get more shows down there? And hopefully, it's the same
And how much money
response.
did you net, do you
I'm not.
think?
I don't talk money on this
Why
podcast
not?
because I'm not doing it. That
Because you're not talking on this podcast about
I'm not
money
talking
because
about
you're
money
not
on.
doing that?
I'm not. That's exactly why I said I'm not
Okay.
doing that.
All right. There's a couple more things I want to bring up about F1.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to talk about something that I've just developed, and it's called the EQ, the entertainment quotient. And I think it may show the opposite side of the coin of things that normally I would see as a total bummer. For instance, the fight with the FIA.
Yes.
I wonder if there's fans, maybe even drivers who are like, "Oh God, I can't wait for a change." And certainly, if you're in the organization, in F1, and you have to put up with this bullshit, it must be really hard. What's the drivers group? GPDA.
Yep.
If you're in the GPDA, it must be so frustrating. But from a fan's point of view, isn't it great to have another bad guy to cheer for?
Oh, 100%. I mean, why would like it is exciting to hear um whatever these rules being laid out, and then you hear a whole bunch of people. The EQ on that is high as far as I'm concerned.
The
Bring it
EQ
on.
on that is high, isn't it?
Yeah, bring
Because
it.
you need people you need an MBS. We're
Yeah.
glad that Flavio's back,
Hmm.
aren't
I
we?
mean, I
Who
mean,
knows what's going to happen with that rascal?
well, I mean, it is kind of amazing that I'm all about tax the rich, and yet I love a sport that's just got all these, super rich people that break the rules and do really crazy things.
Yeah.
Um,
I
like
think sometimes
Flavio's going to be EQ up there. You watch.
that in this modern day, there's not a lot of room for the rascals, for the pirates, for the gypsies, and I'm not one because I don't. I don't know how they sleep at night when they operate at that level. With that, like, isn't it just stressful to be Jos Verstappen? Isn't it
I
just stressful? Like when he was young and a driver and in all that legal problem and all the
yeah,
violence and aggression, isn't it just an awful feeling?
yeah, like you the idea of doing something that is unfair, or
Yeah.
unkind to a large group of people or an individual, I would feel guilty all the time. That would be like, I don't want
Like
to have that.
Flavio and Alonso. Flavio, I don't know how it went down. Flavio tells Alonso, okay, we're going to fix this race in Singapore.
Yeah.
Right. And now Alonso's got to wear that. I mean, I don't think anyone's sleeping for weeks,
Yeah.
probably.
Could you imagine?
And then you
Because
get
they
caught.
told Nelson Piquet Jr. to crash the car.
Right. Right.
So now you're Nelson Piquet now, like, to say to
Now you're
that young
implicated.
driver, right? Now you're like, you have to do this. I'm your boss.
Oh, God.
How do you, like, to force someone to do something? I
Yeah.
would
It's
feel really good.
extortion.
I'd be like, do you want to crash your car?
I would just run away. I think I'd be like, no, I quit. I'm big on quitting.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you do know. Okay, so the FIA fight,
Yeah.
MBS, Flavio. It's all more WWE, isn't it? It's more characters, more personalities,
More
more people to
heels.
cheer for, more heels. Thank you, exactly. More heels. You watch the Vince McMahon documentary,
Mhm.
and I kind of dig how they lean into it. And
Yeah.
so the only thing that I don't like is when the Verstappens and the Horners and the FIA, the MBSs of the world are like, "Oh, don't boo us." Then I'm like, "No, you're not playing the role properly."
I agree 100% because look, Christian Horner, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the, Red Bull or Christian Horner, but I gotta say sometimes Christian Horner, some of the things he says are like really on point. I'm like, "Ooh, nice work. You're really working that angle." But yeah, don't then kind of like, "Oh, hey, don't say that I'm this."
Hey,
If you're
yeah,
saying that,
yeah.
it's part of it.
It's
It's part
part
of
of
it.
it. I mean, he knew what he was doing. Did you see the episode of Drive to Survive where he called James Vowles, the Reverend James Vowles, with a
Oh,
big
and
Cheshire cat grin on his face?
I don't remember that. I remember, maybe I'm not that far as you because I don't
No,
remember
I
that.
think I might be further.
I remember when he calls Zach Brown a prick,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm like, good, yeah. You guys can't
Also,
all like each other.
not an expert, but when Horner was asked um, about the validity of the charges,
Oh,
and
right.
he said, "I am innocent of all charges," or "I am not." He just denied. I deny all accusations. He did this thing that when I used to lie, I used to do it too, and people do it all the time.
Yeah.
He had a physical tell in his body
Oh, really?
where there was an involuntary, and you saw him. Now, I don't know, even when you're innocent, when a cop car drives by, you feel like, did I just do something
Was
wrong?
I driving too fast?
Yeah, right? So that may have been it, but just seeing him on screen say, I deny all accusations. If Flavio Briatore had said it, he'd be like, huh? Me? No, I didn't do that. Whereas Christian was
Finito.
like, I deny all accusations. He seemed so guilty. Are
Mhm.
we done with Hornergate, or is there going to be more to that story?
I think it's probably done.
There's still a court case in 2026.
Really?
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, I think it's probably done. I mean,
I
when
wonder, like, there's Verstappen, there's Helmut, he's 112. There's a new driver in there. I mean, it does feel like there's some wobbly wheels over there at Red Bull.
Oh, 100%. I mean, probably look, anything in F1, anyone who's been an F1 fan knows that if there's a rumor going around, it's probably got some validity. Like, is it 100% accurate? No. But if that's been said, so something has happened, obviously, with Horner. But this whole $1 billion offer to Verstappen to go to Aston Martin, if that's out there, maybe it's not $1 billion, but that means there is talk happening and something. So yeah, I mean, I can see Verstappen moving teams. I can see Horner going. I can actually see Horner. I mean, surely if he's under this sort of like magnifying glass of whatever allegations happened, at some point, does he just go, I'm done? Like, when does he just go, I'm done? I can't be bothered. I'm a millionaire.
I
I'm
don't
married to
know. I
Jerry
don't
Hall.
think I don't think people quit as easily as I do.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
I think people stick in there. Like, look at our prime minister. It took
Yeah.
that. Like, I would have left years ago.
Yeah.
I don't need this headache. People with power don't mind a headache.
You might be right. Because it's true. Like, why did Justin stick around so long? And why does, actually, like, if you're, again, it's like Elon Musk. What are you doing? Don't you just relax? Just
Yeah, I know.
relax.
I know. I
Just
don't get it
stop.
either. Speaking of the $1 billion offer, I don't think it's real. I think that's so much money for a driver who's at his peak. I don't
Mhm.
think Lawrence Stroll pays full price for stuff. That's not how rich people accumulate wealth. They go looking for bargains.
I think you're totally right. I think the $1 billion rumor is not about the price tag. It's about we're for sale. So
Mm,
who's coming along? Who wants to pay me $60 million a year? Who wants to pay me 70? That's what the offer. Total
I
Wolf.
see.
Let's see how your driver team works. Do you want to pay me 70 million? Hey, Ferrari, how did it work out with Lewis? Turns out Leclerc wiped the floor with him. Like, if that happens, do you want to get rid of him and hire me? That's what I think it's all about. So Verstappen is on the move, and he probably will end up in Aston Martin. But I think they've planted the $1 billion offer. They've done it so
The
that they can make,
Verstappens has.
yeah, so that Lawrence Stroll, like, oh, this guy's shopping, now they're going to try and extract as much as they can out of Lawrence Stroll, and then have that partnership with Newey again. I suspect that's what I think.
I wonder if Newey is like, this old chestnut? What?
Yeah.
No, I wanted to work with some new people,
Mhm.
not Jos Verstappen hanging over my shoulder again.
Well, what do you
Not,
think about
I don't know.
this? Think about this for a second.
Go ahead.
If Adrian Newey is got a bit more, he's a bit more got like rock hard cojones and is a bit more sinister and a bit more steely than you think. Okay.
Okay.
I think that what Adrian Newey might really like is to build a car so good that even the shitty Lance Stroll can win a world championship in it. And then that is the ultimate like win. I mean, Adrian Newey designed a great car at Red Bull, but they also have a world-class, ruthless driver who will do anything to win and who's ultimately incredibly consistent and handles pressure. That really helps you win a driver's championship.
Mm-hmm.
When he was at Red Bull, he had Vettel. He built that. Vettel was like lightning for a long time there. He was like sharp, sharp, sharp. So I don't know why lightning's sharp. I think it's just because I envisioned the pointy parts.
I think this is going to be Lance Stroll's last year in F1.
See, I think you're wrong.
I don't think he survives the rule changes next year or his dad's ambitions. But I think his dad is going to say to him, you can leave of your own volition.
I
And
think
that's why you see it. That's why you see Lance adjusting his passion.
Well, you don't read the news like I do in F1 because I'm an idiot and I like to waste time as opposed to learning how to invest in the stock market so that I can have a proper retirement in the future. What I did the other morning was I read about Adrian Newey saying, Lance Stroll has more energy and a more oomph in his step than what's portrayed. In
Oh,
other
really?
words, the ambition is there and the energy to be better is there. So I'm like, why is he dropped? Why is he saying that? What's the point in that? Why? Like,
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Newey doesn't need to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't need to say a word, but he did. So I think that's my prediction. He wants to win a world championship with Lance Stroll, nobody else.
Lance
will
will be the number 2 driver to Max. Is that what you're suggesting?
That's probably what's going to happen. But what I'm making my outlandish prediction is that Adrian Newey wants to win a world championship with a shitty driver. That's what I think.
Well, that's pretty good. I just see not the testing of Lance, but purely because he wouldn't be there if it weren't for his dad.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be. I don't think.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I don't think when you have a driver like Valtteri who doesn't have a seat and Lance who does, I think if Yuki is on the Racing Bulls, but Lance is on Aston Martin, it just doesn't make much sense to me. So if you take away the nepotism, then you have 1 year left. That's what I think.
I think you're totally right. There's lots of drivers that have made it to F1 that probably shouldn't be there. But they have the financial backing that's required. And also, like you can take Lando Norris. You can say that about Lando. I mean, Lando's a good race car driver. Don't get me wrong, and he's done well. But he was there. His dad was a successful investment banker or a whatever wealth manager or something, and they had millions of pounds. That's a lot of money to get good, you know. But when you take someone like Lewis Hamilton, whose dad worked 2 jobs and they borrowed tires from Jensen Button's
Yeah, it's such
dad,
a good story.
you're just like that's amazing. And Jensen Button's dad owned a car dealership, and I'm not saying he was. I mean, he wasn't poor, but he wasn't super. But those
Yeah.
2 drivers, and that's why I think I have, an affinity towards both of them. Not so much Lewis because he's so good. It's hard to cheer for him when someone's so good. I don't know why I'm like that, but that means I'm supposed to do a task.
What about this for a prediction? Sainz and Albon, world champs in 2028.
Oh my God, I like it.
What do you think?
I like it. I mean, it's hard to wait that long to hear the prediction. I was kind of hoping you were going to say Sainz and Albon finish 9-10 in this year's championship.
No, I've got Williams in 7th.
What? No, I think they're going to be higher.
I think I'm going to listen to James Vowell and Carlos Sainz. I know they're downplaying, but I would have put them at 8th before listening to them. I'm going to put them in 7th because I don't think they're going to beat. I don't think they're going to live up to the hype. The hype is so without any evidence for this year.
Well, here's my thought on that. Sauber, Audi at the bottom. I don't think Haas has as good a year as they had last year. I think they're probably 8th or 9th. I don't think Aston Martin's going to be very good. I think they're going to be somewhere 8th or 9th. So you've got Haas, and you've got Aston, and you've got the Audi Saubers. There's 3. That's the bottom 8, 9, 10. And then I actually think the Racing Bulls are probably going to be not very good this year. I think it's going to be whatever. So they're going to be 7th. And so I think it's between Williams and Alpine because Alpine now has the Mercedes engine. That I think Alpine and Williams will be battling it out for 5th.
Alpine doesn't have a Mercedes engine yet. That's next year, isn't it?
No,
it's Renault. This is their last year of a Renault powertrain.
I'm pretty sure you're wrong.
I could be. Let's check.
Thank God. Is that AI?
What kind of engine do the Alpine racing team have for 2025? Can you read it out to me? No. What kind of powertrain does Alpine use 2025?
I'll do it.
Here it is. Alpine F1 team confirms big change to powertrain 2026.
Oh.
Oliver Oakes has revealed the team's strategy to build its own gearbox starting in 2027.
That's different.
God. Will rely on Mercedes
in 2025.
Renault announced last year that it would cease power unit manufacturing at its Viry-Châtillon facility from 2026 due to escalating costs.
I'm telling you, they're driving.
So that's why I've got Alpine in 6th. They've got Adrian Newey puts Aston Martin in 5th. I know. I'm going to switch. That could go the other way with Alpine. Maybe Alpine's ahead. It's just that I think I don't trust anybody there. I think they've treated Gasly terribly. I think he's super stressed out. They've got the whole Carlo Pinto ghost hanging around. So Jack Doohan is gonna he's unsupported. Both their drivers are unsupported, and they have a Renault engine. And
I'm pretty sure it's Mercedes.
So I'm going to put them at 6. Williams at 7th. Haas at 8. I agree with you. They're not going to have as good as years last year. And then I'm going to put Sauber in 9th because of what's his name? Bertoli.
Yep.
I like him. And the Racing Bulls are going to be in 10th.
Wow, I love that. That's awesome.
Last place. Also, because it's hard to have a hot take when the top 4 are sewn up, and it's the same thing you hear everywhere.
That's why I think the hot take is Williams finishes 5th, because I think you have a driver pairing of Albon and Sainz, and those two are going to move the team forward faster than those other teams or drivers do.
But they don't have the car. I mean, that's what James Vowles says right now. Carlos said it too. You're not going to see me on the podium this year.
Get ready.
That's it. That's the whole. But when we're having this delightful back and forth, a get ready is like you taking the tennis ball and just like spiking it into the parking lot and just standing there like this. Like, what am I supposed to say?
Here's why I'm going to tell you why there's a podium possibility.
Okay, great.
There's going to be some variable weather conditions. Sainz has been very good at handling that and when to go on the right tire and all that sort of stuff. So there's that opportunity. Then there's another opportunity, and I could be wrong here, but I think there's going to be more accidents in the front of the field this year than ever before.
Because of the rookies?
No, because I think that the top drivers in the top 4 teams are going to tangle with Max more often. That's what I think is going to happen.
But there's also 2 rookies in the top 4 teams.
That's right. And so you're right. So you know what? I'll yes and that. That's also a reason why we might see some more opportunity for the midfield teams to get up there. So when everyone's driving well and professionally and the cars are in tune, no one's getting in the top 8. But when it gets a little chaotic, you watch. And I do like my big wild prediction is that the Red Bull car isn't going to be as good as Max wants. It's still going to be great. Still going to be there and he's still going to win races, but it's not going to be as good as he wants it to be. And because of that, his temper's going to flare and he's going to have more conflicts with more drivers consistently. So it's not just going to be like one driver like it was with Lewis in 2021 or one driver like with Lando, because Lando basically what Max did was like, well, Lando's my only guy can catch me. So I'm going to drive really recklessly with him. Well, that won't be the case, I don't think, unless somehow the McLaren is so good. But then the rest of the field, I think that in 2025, he's going to have to dice with Lewis and Leclerc and George and Oscar and Lando. And if there's anyone that's not going to hit or not going to back down, Oscar's just going to be like, he just drove into me. He's an idiot. That's what's going to happen. And the same thing will probably happen with Lewis. I would love to see Leclerc really stick it to Verstappen. But Leclerc is also a little bit like Lando. Those guys they're both kind of, well, they're nice. You kind of want to just hang out with them. And
I would love for Leclerc to have a great season this year.
He probably
I would love that. And Lewis as the second seat, I just can't picture it. I don't know what that's going to be like.
I think Lewis is playing the long game. Lewis is like, all right, we got a new change of rules for 2026. I'm going to come in. I'm going to get in. And I bet you he's said in his mind, I'm going to obviously want to beat Leclerc, but I don't think he'll never say it. I think he's going to go, I'm just going to come in, figure out the lay of the land so that in 2026, when the regulation changes come in, I'm ready to destroy. That's what his plan is. I'm not saying he's going to do that.
So we've got long game players are
Lewis
in Ferrari, and then maybe teams with a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about top 4, And Williams is playing the long game. Who's playing a short game?
McLaren right now, I think.
McLaren are playing to win now.
I think McLaren are going, this is our year. Let's have a good car. We have a great chance of winning the world championship. And they probably think it's with either driver.
So
So,
they're going to let him race?
yeah, they're going to let them race. And that might be the factor that allows someone like Max or George. That's why I think my money's on George potentially winning, because if the Mercedes car is good and George, hones in a few of his mistakes and makes less and all that sort of stuff, I think that you're going to see, the potential of a Max or a George eking out a championship because McLaren haven't handled their two top drivers.
So does George have that second driver that is required, or can he do it on his own? Like Max doesn't need anybody, does he?
No, I think what the
Does
favor is.
George?
Well, I think here's the favor. The favor is that Kimi Antonelli is in no way expected to beat George. And Kimi is, unless he's somehow in the first 5 races, Kimi's like up to speed or whatever. And Kimi is probably going to be pretty good. Not all the time, but he's probably going to be pretty good most races this year. So he's going to be up there and he'll be doing his thing. But it's the advantage of, let's say, Lewis, Charles, Oscar, and Lando taking points off each other. That's what's going to help a George. That's what's going to help a Max.
Oh, I see.
Mhm.
And then what kind of game is Haas playing? They're soon to be not the only American team on the grid.
I bet you they sell to Toyota.
Oh, you think that's what Toyota's their engine right now, aren't they?
No,
No.
they're Ferrari, but Toyota's coming in as a technical partner. So I think Toyota is probably considering coming back into Formula One. And I think they'll probably partner with Toyota. They'll lose the Ferrari of engines, and then maybe eventually Toyota just takes over the team.
Oh, I see. And maybe Honda distancing themselves from Tsunoda now is in preparation for Yuki to be driving with Haas?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I also think that Honda did what they could. I think Honda wanted Tsunoda in the Red Bull seat, but
I would have put him there. Wouldn't you have?
I
thought he improved. I like him. He's cute. He's fun.
I mean, I think I would have tried it.
Yeah.
They've done it before, right? So I don't know why they felt the need to put Liam Lawson. I mean, Liam Lawson is going to be good, and I think probably in the long haul, he probably is maybe going to be more consistent. But maybe there's another reason for it. Maybe, like, how's this for a theory? Maybe Christian Horner is fed up with the Verstappens. Get ready. And he's like, well, who's the driver that I think is going to potentially give, if they're on their way out, if these rumors are true and I can't be bothered to deal with these guys anymore, because I feel like Horner probably, maybe this is when I have empathy for him. I would imagine dealing with Jos Verstappen to be a major headache, like of epic proportions.
He earns his $12 million a year when he deals with Jos, and Jos is always there to be dealt with.
It's so I would imagine it's nauseating, and there isn't enough gravel in the world.
His stomach upset. He's got diarrhea all the time. I guarantee it.
Acid reflux.
Oh my God.
Like because of Jos. So I feel like maybe he went, you know what? Let's put Liam in that car, because if you're Max Verstappen, who would you rather have in the car?
Well, you don't want anyone to take the shine off the Max show.
All right. So Tsunoda's probably easier, and I think to beat. Whereas Liam, there's an edge to Liam. He's pissed off Fernando Alonso. I think.
Oh, I see. Oh, you mean you didn't you're saying he didn't kowtow to Max. You were saying, oh, Liam comes with an edge. This is going to piss off Jos.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And then those guys are gone. And then I've got Liam, who's I think is probably in the long claim. And then I can pick any of the drivers to come into my seat.
How did he piss off Fernando?
I'm not sure exactly, but there was a couple races where he was just racing really hard, and Fernando, for some reason, didn't like it. And
Mm.
Liam Lawson was just kinda like, "I don't know what I don't know what I'm trying to prove that I deserve to be on the grid. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
making my way for anybody." You know?
Making your way in the
The
world
world
today
today
takes
takes
everything
everything
you
you
got
got. Taking a break from
from
all
all your
worries
worries.
sure would help a
A
lot.
lot. We're pitch perfect
Wouldn't
as
you
usual.
like to get away? What's that note?
Sometimes you wanna go.
Where everybody knows your
Okay,
name.
we've done an hour. Do you wanna do another one?
Another hour? No, I got work to do, and I need to eat, and I'd like to end this podcast with, that's when I felt like the world was nice, was when Cheers was on. But maybe it wasn't a nice world. Maybe it was still a bad world.
No, it was the '80s. It was terrible. It was
Okay.
Reagan's trickle-down economics. It was terrible to be a person of color. It was the Cold War. It was nukes and Iran-Contra and corruption and lies
Yeah, but it was
and Platinum
Cheers,
Blonde. It was
Growing
Platinum
Pains,
Blonde,
Family Ties, it was Night Court,
David Lee
um,
Roth's solo album.
um,
It was just
it
terrible.
was Flock of Seagulls. There was lots of good.
I don't miss the '80s at all. I liked the '90s. That was fun,
I
wasn't it?
miss I
I
miss the
can't
'80s.
remember a fucking thing.
I think, mid '80s to late '90s was pretty solid for sure.
You know what I like? I like, I liked I didn't like the I liked the aughts. I like the aughts, except for after 9/11, all we talked about was 9/11, and that
Yeah,
got boring.
yeah.
And then I like the teens, but I can't remember them because I had young children. Now I really like the 20s so far. I mean,
Really?
everything's too expensive, but
How the heck can you like I ever since the pandemics happened, I'm like, "What are we doing?"
oh, okay. Well, yeah, I forgot about the pandemic. I didn't like wearing a mask at all, and I didn't like the social distancing, and I don't know if I can do that again ever. That
Like,
just drove me up the wall. I'll take all the vaccines you've got, but I will not wear a mask again. That was insane. But after the pandemic, I think it's been really good, hasn't it?
what are you
Like
talking about?
in our worlds, like
What do you
pretend
mean
you
in our worlds? Our world's right. I am just trying to get to 0 for crying out loud. I'm just trying to get to I'm trying to I want the negative to get to whatever the 0 and then maybe get a plus in there. This is insane.
but look at all that you're doing. Like, look at the art that you're making. Look at the response you got on Saturday night. Look at the shows you've got going on downtown. Like, you've really accomplished a lot.
Sure, I've accomplished a lot because, thanks to the
Plus, you
world
went to
being
Hawaii for
yeah,
3
yeah,
weeks?
yes,
I mean,
but I'm in the
you're in
hole
a
for that.
loving relationship?
Oh, shut up.
You're doing
Don't just
great,
shut
Milky.
up. Oh my god.
I think you're doing great. You created this thing with Denise, which is so cool. You're giving work to other actors.
Happens. You totally
Oh,
froze. You broke the internet.
anyways, I think it's good these days. There's war for sure and famine. Isn't there always? There's
Yeah,
plague around the corner. Bird flu is
I
next.
guess
There's
all
a
I'm trying to
despot in
say,
charge. There's always a despot somewhere.
because I'm sort of generally driven by trying to make sure things in my life, like what's fair. How do we keep things fair and what's just? It just feels like in the world today that doesn't seem to exist. It seems like what's sensible is not pursued. And that's what I mean by why I think ever since the pandemic happened, I think everyone's kind of gone a bit crazy. And we're probably 5 years away from like a reframe in society and communities' ability to address what really matters, which is empathy, refinding trust. Trust is priceless. And I bet you most of the world, if you were to ask people, do you trust your government? Do you trust the rich? Do you trust, I think most people will say that they don't. So
If
that's
you
that.
if you are you trying to if you were to be rich, would you like to be rich? I would love to be rich.
I would like to I would like to have a very yes, wealthy lifestyle, but I don't want to be define what rich means. If you I don't
Like
want to be a
10
billionaire.
million bucks.
Don't
10
want to
million
be a
bucks.
billionaire.
10 million bucks.
Okay, 10 million
10
bucks? Yeah.
million.
$10 million to
And
not
then
to
would you still be calling for the rich to be taxed?
yes,
So you would give away half of that happily?
absolutely.
Really?
Yes,
I
because
would move immediately.
but I
I would harbor that money with my life.
because
I
here's
would
the
put
thing.
it in a tax haven in the Caribbean and buy a bunch of guns.
Here's the thing about when we're talking about taxing the ultra wealthy, we're talking about taxing the billionaires that now are able to exponentially grow their money because they have complete power and influence. That's what you're talking about. You have to take that power away.
Well,
Now,
I
somebody may,
agree. You just said tax the rich though.
yeah,
I would
yeah.
call 10 million bucks rich. And in Canada,
I don't know if being a
how
millionaire
much?
is rich anymore, but
Yeah, maybe not.
if a house costs $1 million in Vancouver, and that is a very kind,
Yeah,
actually a
that's
two,
cheap. That's an apartment.
yeah. So a 2-bedroom condo in Vancouver is $1 million. So you telling me you're rich if you have $1 million? No, because your house
Yeah.
is $1 million.
What was it? Do you miss the days when you were an internet sensation? Like, was that really fun? Because you got to do stuff and you were making money.
It was a very exciting, and it felt like there was more opportunity around the corner at for quite some time. And then that, of course, that seemed to sort of fizzle.
How many years was it really good? Was it peak combos with my
I would say
2-year-old?
4 or 5 years.
And how much money were you making?
I'm not talking about money.
Why does that make you so angry?
Okay, I'm not tossing out how much money I've made.
In my peak year, I
I don't need to know how much money you made.
I made
I don't want to know.
$270,000. And it was really good because you didn't have to worry about bills. I didn't have to worry when I made $150,000.
If you tax the ultra rich, you wouldn't have to worry about bills in the same way. You'd have less worry about your bills because things would be properly maintained and taken care of, and and the money distributed in the right, fair way.
Yeah, I guess where I'm trying to keep it local between us is that I think it's more interesting to our one listener when we make
For the listener.
we're the listener when we make it when it's between us, when we're not trying to write policy, like
Well,
we're
let me.
never gonna get into politics. So
No, but what most of the world is and podcasts are, in my opinion, is they are opinions. That's all podcasts are. It's people just talk
Mhm,
about their ideas and their opinions.
mhm,
So here's an example: Formula One. There's a
yeah,
cost cap.
yeah.
You have a budget cap of how much money you're willing
What is
to
it?
spend. I can't remember, but they and Zach Brown, an American, was like, we should have this because that creates a more fair playing field and creates better competition, which overall is better for the economy of the sport.
Yeah.
That logic applies to governance and capitalism.
Mm. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So Zach Brown, run for president.
All right.
I gotta go. I gotta stretch this hip out, and I gotta find someone to.
Is that a chiro or a massage or
I'm
a
gonna go to a
physio?
chiro guy. I'll go to a chiro guy, and then I'll do the red. He has this machine where it pulls you,
No way.
so it just like takes that pressure off. So I'll probably do that, and then I'll do red light therapy. My life's great. Hey, I get those options. Other people don't.
That's true. I wish you believed it. My life's great. My life's great.
I do believe it. No, I'm happy. I can't complain other than I want to get to zero.
You want to get to zero. Well, here's to that. And then, so how do we make this podcast a hit so you don't have to get to zero? You can get to
Well, I
zero.
need to find a bit of time to pump this into Opus Clip and then make
I
it
don't think you have time.
not at the moment. But there is a way. There's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I mean, that's probably where we could spend some research. I don't know how you get a followership for a podcast.
I don't know either.
I don't
I
know
mean,
how
I've
without
looked
doing it.
into it and it just sounds so boring.
Like the only thing I can think of is taking this, downloading, making some clips, post these clips on our channel, services, and then maybe someone tunes in. Obviously, we have to have a consistent time. And if it's once or twice a week, it's always we're always releasing a prediction or whatever our podcast happens to be themed about every Tuesday, every Friday. I
Yeah.
mean, I could start bringing my microphone.
Yeah, bring your microphone. Do
What do
it.
All right, JB, I'm gonna let you go. It was a pleasure as always.
Okay, buddy. You too. I'm going to end this stream. We'll see you next time.
See you.